والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل مخرجه وجعلنا من خير أنصاره وأعوانه. Respected brothers, sisters, fathers in faith, my equals in humanity, I take this opportunity and extend to you my deepest condolences on these series of tragic occasions and events within this month of Muharram, especially the tragedy of Karbala, asking Allah to help us learn and reflect upon the essences of these teachings, to ascend in knowledge, to develop an agenda, to be people of vision. Yesterday we touched upon a very significant topic, which is what defines a weak personality and what defines a strong personality. A personality that acts upon resilience. We viewed this topic from a psychological perspective, then we talked about it from a on a social level, and then we discussed it from a jurisprudential religious perspective. Today I want to speak, my topic for today is going to be surrounding or circulating around this main theme, which is one word: meaning. My topic for today is meaning. Basing everything on yesterday's topic, we mentioned that a strong personality is a personality that is self-controlled, that is according to a psychologist from the University of Chicago. He said that a resilient personality is a personality that is self-controlled, orientated to the path they want, and committed. This basically means that a weak personality is the opposite of all those three factors. Now, before I go and begin and talk about my overall idea, I want to mention that this idea of weak personality has led to the destruction of civilizations. It has led to a destruction of individuals. It has led to a destruction of ideologies. Why? Because being a weak personality basically means you lose your structure. External disturbances come within you and they disturb who you are. They disturb your character. You collapse. And I gave an example yesterday. One of my friends in class, he was bullied because they told him, "Oh, you don't have a hairline." And suddenly this person collapsed. He started getting bad grades, not attending at school. This is a weak personality. Now you may ask, what is the link between a weak personality and meaning? What is your topic, Brother Ali? Part of a weak personality, which is my topic today. Part of a weak personality is not placing things where they should be. Part of a weak personality is being affected by whatever you hear, whatever you see, whatever you encounter. Now, one of the things, this is an example, and from this I'm gonna branch off to this topic. This idea of atheism. This idea of agnosticism, it's new. In fact, it's new. Go conduct some researches. It's new. Weak personalities, what they do is they forfeit. I've encountered many and many agnostics. I tell them, okay, where did this creation come from? We don't know. And by the way, do you guys know why the rate of suicide is increasing? It's elevating. According to many researchers, they say it's because depression. Okay, depression. Where does depression come from? Imagine, they reach a level where they kill themselves. They commit suicide. What that means, this person does not have meaning. When you don't have meaning in life, now we came here today. All of you guys came here to attend. Do you guys have a meaning? Or are you skeptical towards your meaning? No, I'm sure that every single one of you came here for an objective. Do you guys have a meaning? Those who don't have a meaning place themselves under a major threat. And now from the idea of meaning and having a meaning, I want to talk about atheism and agnosticism and creationism. When we talk about this topic and we take it under control and we look at it and we observe it and we investigate within the mechanism of this topic, yes, it is complicated. But if you have a meaning, you won't give up. If you really know why we are here, what does it mean to be here? Does it mean something, or is it just coincidence? Coincidence. What is coincidence? Is coincidence the creation? Now, I don't want to make things more complicated, because they are very complicated in terms of creationism versus the coincidence or evolution. When you encounter an atheist, you ask him, how did we come here? It's one of two. Number one, he's going to tell you, I don't believe in a God. That's number one. That's the first thing you're going to hear from an atheist. I don't believe in God. Okay. What do you believe in? It's one of two. Evolution, which we discussed 2 days ago. And we mentioned some of its flaws according to scientific laws. Or he's going to say, I don't know, then he becomes an agnostic. So basically, if you go and view the doctrine of an atheist, it's empty. He doesn't have anything. He cannot debate you. All he does is he wants to criticize you and prove you wrong. Whatever you tell him, where did this come from? Where did that come from? He doesn't want to understand you. So I don't think any one of us should reach that state of becoming an atheist, because an atheist, with all my respect, he doesn't investigate much. He doesn't want to reach somewhere. He reaches a level where he loses meaning, and when you lose meaning, that's it. You violate all the laws. Even if you want to go kill yourself, it becomes something easy. Why? Because you don't value yourself anymore. Because this is meaning. When you value yourself, when you mean something to yourself, when your parents, when your doctrine, when this life, when this creation means something to you, this is called meaning. Now you come to agnosticism and talk to the agnostics. You tell them, what do you guys have? They say one thing. Agnosticism is based on one thing. They say, we don't reject anything, but we don't know. Now at least they don't reject things, but they still don't know. Okay. So does that person have a meaning? And according to many studies, at least the ones I looked at, they say that a lot of those who don't have purpose in life and a lot of those who are depressed tend to be people who don't have a bond with spirituality or religion. Another study I looked at about 2 weeks ago, it said those who follow a certain ideology, like Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Jews, they tend to be or tend to have this belief that they practice tend to give them trust to themselves, tends to give them, they tend to live longer, good health. Why? Because health and psychology are interconnected. When you know why you are here, you feel this sense of comfort. When you have comfort, you don't begin to worry. A lot of those who don't have or don't follow a path, they worry because they don't know. He says, I don't know. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know where I'm heading. I don't know who am I. Why am I here? A lot of these questions that play with your mind. Now, let's leave atheism and agnosticism on the side. Because, to be honest, I don't want to waste your time, guys, because they don't make sense. They don't make sense at all. Now, let's take a look at the idea of creationism. Did we end up here through creation? Really? Now, people say, what is the philosophy behind creation? How were we created? How do we know that we were created? What proves that? Well, God created us. We don't see God. That's what they answer you. Now, I'm going to provide you with some scenarios to make the example or the idea more simplified to you. If you guys were to enter a room, and I want you to reflect upon this, please. If you guys were to enter a room and you saw a painting of a flower dripping blood, or a female crying, or a person shedding tears, what is the first thought you will receive or picture in your mind? What is it going to be? It's most likely going to be this thought. That, oh, the person that painted this image must be suffering from depression or is in a bad state right now. If you enter accidentally, if you enter a chemistry class and you see hundreds of equations, next level complicated equations written down on the board, what is the first thought that's going to arise in your mind? It's going to be, oh, that this teacher, the teacher that wrote these equations down must be an individual of high intellect, must be an individual who has years of studying and investigations. Now, let's apply this on us. When we look at the solar system and its precise makeup, if we look at the planets and their precise cycles, if we look at our bodies and how they react. I remember last year I studied how the body turns glucose into APA, which is energy. I was astonished. I was like, wow, all these complicated steps. This is coincidence does not make up a complex. Coincidence does not make up a complex, according to logic and math. Now, if we look at the solar system, our bodies, our surroundings, isn't that all precise makeup? Okay. If you believe that the mathematical equations and formulas written down on the board when you first entered the math class depict or reveal that the teacher must be a person, an entity who is very smart, a person who is educated, a person who's very a person of knowledge, let's say, then you must believe that this complex makeup, this complex formation, the universe, the galaxies, must also have a creator. This is my argument, number one. And if you guys can rebuttal or answer me, rebuttal back after the lecture, I'm ready. Argument number two, according to logic, according to math, something cannot rise from nothing. So if I make this sound, this is an effect. Who was the cause? I was the cause, my hand. This was the effect. My hand was the cause. Okay. So if you believe in this, then you must believe that this universe is an effect, or not. If you say, oh, this universe is not an effect, then it shouldn't exist. If you say that it is an effect, then according to logic, according to science and math, every effect has a cause. That cause, atheists tend to have allergies from the word God. That's how I want to put it. They don't like the word God. I'm going to say creator. This cause is what we call God. Now a lot of you might be thinking right now, okay, Brother Ali, if every effect has a cause, then what caused God? Isn't God an effect too? Because he's something. Now, if you have studied philosophy, you will know that right now you just stated an invalid question. Why? Because according to the first argument, I am saying God is the founder. God is the creator of creationism. In other words, God gave creation, or the act of creation, its properties. So when you are saying what made God or what gave God existence, if you say what made God, you are saying what made or gave God existence. This doesn't make sense, because a creator of something cannot be within his creation. I cannot be within my computer system walking inside my program that I made, for example. So based upon these logical arguments, we believe, now I'm viewing this idea of creationism purely from a logical perspective. I did not bring our respected and honored imams, because if we would, it's something very complicated and we need hours to explain. Now, alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. Last time in one of my debates, it lasted for 2 hours and a half, the person was not convinced. He was a bit stubborn. I was like, man, you know what? Let me tell you something. To end the debate. If we both die and there turns out to be a God, then I win. I enter heaven and you enter hell. If we both die and there is no God, we both die. That's it. There's nothing after it. So you're better off follow a God, a supernatural entity, better than staying an atheist. And keep in mind that asking such questions are very crucial. Why? Because asking a question is basically halfway to your answer. I know that at this age and in this civilization, brothers and sisters, we encounter many of these questions. And we reach a state where science makes us think, oh, you know what? There's no God. There's no God, man. Science gave us everything. One of my brothers asked me one time, he was like, Brother Ali, do you believe science will ascend one day to a level where science will discover God? I told him, absolutely not. Science didn't and will not discover God. He was like, why? I was like, my brother, can you use a ruler to measure your weight? Can you? You can't. Because a ruler is used or can be used to measure height, width, length. It does not measure weight. Similarly, science, this branch of knowledge, is not designed to measure supernatural entities or supernatural beings. Now, we must, because we're the Shias of Amir al-Mu'mineen, it's very good and very crucial to look at things from a logical perspective, from a psychological perspective, but we cannot neglect or refrain from observing the spiritual perspective or the Islamic perspective. Now, I stopped upon a hadith for Imam Hussein Salamullah alayhi. It's very meaningful. He says in one of the du'as, Imam Hussein is talking directly to God. He says, كيف يستدل عليك بما هو في وجوده مفتقر إليك. Basically he's saying, how can I use a factor to prove that you exist when this factor itself is in need to you? We must be shy to say, oh, I'm going to prove God through this. God is proven. بك عرفتك وأنت دللتني عليك. Through him I knew him. I don't need anybody. Until the end of the hadith, the Imam says, عميت عين لا تراك. This is a bit painful. He says, the eyes that don't see you, may they be blinded. And by the way, when he says eyes, he does not mean direct contact. Because God is not matter. He's not within space. He's not touchable. He's not physical. And he does not have a physical appearance. And as a result, we cannot see him. Because what we see must be restricted, must have color, must have a shape, must have a size, must have matter, must be restricted within an area. So when the Imam says عَمْيَةَ عَيْنٌ لَا تَرَاكَ, this should spark a sense within us to go really investigate and reach God, because we can reach God through two ways. And this topic is very complex, I told you brothers. I can be speaking for hours. We can reach God and know God through two ways. Through fitrah, which we do, it's planted within us, and through ma'rifah. Right now in this civilization, I believe that we need to know God through ma'rifah, not fitrah. Why? Because we are living in a time where there are ideologies, where there are different laws, physical, chemical, biological, which could mess up the dynamics and the norms and our belief system. That being said, I call upon all my brothers and sisters, and I repeat this, and I will repeat this every single day until I finish my lectures. If you have a question regarding creationism, regarding the being of God, what is God, directly go ask. Don't keep it within you, shy. A person, before I conclude, a person approached Imam al-Sadiq salamullah alayhi. He told him, "Oh Imam, tell me, is God a solid, a liquid, or a gas? What is he?" Because we humans act upon materialism. We want everything to be materialistic because we are materialistic. Al-Sadiq told him, "Have you sat one day next to a person in the hospital on his deathbed?" He was like, "Yes, I did, I have." He told him, "Did you speak to the person before he died?" He told him, "For sure, he was one of my best friends." He told him, "After this person died, did you speak to him? Were you able to communicate with that person after he died?" He was like, "I couldn't." The Imam asked him, "Why couldn't you communicate with that person after he died?" The person answered him, because his soul left his body, he cannot function anymore. He's a dead person. The Imam told him, okay, now let me answer your question. That soul that left his body, explain it to me. Is it a solid, a liquid, or a gas? The Imam asked him. Now look at this social strategy. The Imam answered his question through a question. Indirectly, the Imam is trying to tell him that, my friend, first of all, there are limits to questions. Second of all, know what you're asking. If you cannot define and explain to me the essence of a soul, you expect me to explain to you what God is and what God is made up of? Sometimes we ask questions based upon our standards. I have a standard and I want to build upon it. Because from my vision it's correct. But from the divine vision it's incorrect and it violates the divine Islamic laws. I ask Allah upon these days to help us elevate in knowledge the matter of Tawheed. May Allah help us learn, investigate, attain, understand Islam through knowledge, not through fitrah only, not through instinct only. We need to learn things through our knowledge too, through investigating, through the hadith of Ahl Bayt. Inshallah ta'ala, we all become the companions of our 12th Imam and help stand by him to raise the flag of social justice and mercy and human rights. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.